Hey everyone. Today I want to talk to you about essentially how you can create a new you, and how we can create a new world by choosing to live consciously. But first, let's have a quick look at essentially what unconscious reactive living is like, what causes it, and what the effects of it is. How we essentially waste our energy, get stuck in patterns, and life just starts to spiral. Okay. So it's quite a lot. So I'm going to go quickly. Um, you probably know the first part of this from the Pain Body series, but all there is in life is consciousness, right? It is God, it is the divine, the creator, the I am. It is the one thing that is everything. And it is simply awareness. So it is absolutely still and knowing and just ising and being. But when that begins to move, it turns into what we call energy. Not the stuff you measure as joules, not calories, energy. If you're watching this movie, you know what energy is. So you can say that consciousness is God, energy is the movement of God, right? Um, then this energy is meant to create matter, the physical world. It condenses into matter. It makes your body, it builds it, and it sustains it, right? And energy fuels the mind and gives form and life to thoughts, right? Um, so I recommend, if you're interested in this little subsection of it, that you go look at the Pain Body series, because this is how it explains how your mind gets caught in thought loops. So, what your mind thinks results in your emotional reaction, right? And your emotional reaction and your mind gets stuck in this little loop where they're sort of reliving the same thoughts based on the same traumas, based on the same fears and the same memories over and over again. And you're just thinking and feeling, and then thinking about your feeling, and then feeling about your thoughts. And then, it's just a terrible, terrible loop that sucks your energy. What I want to add to this flow is the understanding that how you feel actually dictates your choices, your actions, and your decisions, right? Um, so what that means is, oh, your emotions also dictates your interactions, right? Let's just call it interactions. So your interactions becomes friends, um, your emotional nature, what you like, what you hate, how you fight, who you get along with, what your peer group is. Your choices is your buying and consumption, and um then your actions your decisions become your politics, your values, right? And all of this also leads to self-soothing, right? You're stuck in I'm a failure, or I wasn't loved as a kid. You're stuck in that feeling of not enough, not enough love, not enough joy, not enough sweetness in my life, not enough contentment in my life. So what you do is you consume food, etc. We all know what etc is, but I just want to show you this does not seem like a bad thing. You're like, well, this is what being alive is. Who you interact with, what you buy, what you do with your time, your actions, your choices, and your decisions are what make you human. What's the big problem? The problem is that it's fueled by an unconscious. This loop here, it's actually not a box, it's a loop. It's a loop that you're stuck in. Your awareness, your sense of I, what you put your thoughts on, and where you direct the energy of consciousness, the energy of life energy, comes into this and you don't even know. Many people don't know that they are thinking. Most people don't know what they're thinking about. They don't know that they think without ceasing. They think about mostly the same things, and that it's all based on the past and projections of that same past into the future. We don't know that our awareness is enslaved by the unprocessed emotions. What happened to us that was sudden, traumatic, or too intense to process becomes what the mind becomes obsessed with. And therefore, your choices are unconsciously, unknowingly based on what hurt you. Your politics and your decisions are based on things that happened in your childhood, which, in and of themselves, you can say that's not a bad thing. But what if you lived in a world where people could manipulate this loop? What if your mom can trigger an emotional reaction from you because she knows that this emotion will result in this emotional reaction? What if the big producers out there can get you to buy food or drinks or substances? Your drug dealer can get you to buy drugs if a certain emotion is triggered in you. If a certain loop begins, the consumption follows. What if markets can do that? What if politics can do that? What if your boss can do that? What if people are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, triggering this loop with you and then triggering all of this in unconsciousness? So you have a bunch of people. Let's let's represent this as a squiggly thing, right? This is your unconscious pattern. And there's other people, I'm just making it small so it fits in a diagram, but other people have their collection of unconscious behaviors and their collection of their unconscious thought emotional loop. And theirs is bumping into you and triggering your thing, and then you're bumping into them and triggering their thing, and then their thing and your thing together equals the world. This is the unconscious world. This is the unconscious collective ego. All of this here is the collective ego because it is not aware. It is not aware of its divinity. It is not consciously choosing where it sends its energy. It is in a reactive unconscious loop. So this is the collective ego. And this, the resulting behavior, consumption patterns, values, decisions, and actions that come out of this unconsciousness, combined with all the other people on the planet, is the unconscious world that we live in. So I could go into more detail, but I just want to say that the harm with this logical sequence is not in and of itself bad. The harm is when this loop is fueled by what you don't know, what you're not conscious of, what you don't choose on purpose, and what is essentially based on painful memories, which result in painful fears or angry opinions and triggers and things that really, really get you upset. Then you have these things coming out of it. The Where you place your energy, where you place your money, where you place your time, where you place your decision making power, the actual power of you in the physical world now becomes a result of your unconsciousness. That's the problem, is if this is unconscious, this is unconscious. And if 8 billion unconscious people have 8 billion unconscious reactive patterns, we have an unconscious world. So now we have a world based on division, separation, offense, triggers, consumption, self soothing, isolation, self protection, lack of trust, and lack of bonding. And I can go on and on and on. I'm just trying to make a point here. Before I move on to show you what the alternative would be, I also want to mention that this life energy that is meant to come into this world, and one of the things it does is build and sustain and renew the body. When this energy is being sucked into this black hole, this intensive force field of mind, emotion, mind, emotion, mind, emotion, and all of your fuel is going in there, it's not going there. Now you have lack of awareness, and let's just say lack of I am. You no longer visit your body. You no longer feel and experience and bask in and love and send light and allow and let your body glow and thrive. You no longer take care of parts of your body. You no longer allow your divinity to shine through parts of your body. And you have the lack of the consciousness, and you have the lack of um energy. Let's call the energy fuel. You no longer have the ability to run the body as fully and as vibrantly as you could have before. And the body is no longer being repaired and renewed and regenerated and just living and thriving. And the body starts to implode. It dries up, it gets achy and creaky and twisty and painful, and it tries to get your attention, and it creates pains. Now, I'm not dismissing all diseases and saying that all diseases are created either psychosomatically or by neglect, but I am saying that your awareness, when you allow your I-ness to be on your body, and when you allow energy to revive your body, you're much less likely to have pains and degeneration. And in many, many, many cases, like I want to say 75, 80, 90% of cases, there are things happening with the body that is the body's way of trying to get your awareness back to the body, but not in an unconscious reactive way, not in a fear-based way, not in a hate-based way, but in, hey, awareness. I need awareness. Anyhow, I'm just saying that as a side thing. I also want to say this is really about the alternative. How do we build a new world? How do you build a new life, a new you? How do you scrap this and say, listen, this has turned into a mess? What I think I wanted to do in school, what I wanted to do in work, it turns out that it was based on, painful memories with my father and my siblings. The way I interact with my friends is based on traumas from childhood. My relationship my sexual relationships, my marital relationships, my decision to have family, that of my own, that's all coming from the trauma of watching my parents' marriage, the emotional coldness of my mother, the fill in the blanks. The My inability to bond with my kids has to do with the fact that I'm repeating my parents' inability to bond with me. This whole thing is a mess, and I want to change it. And this plus 8 billion other ones have created a world that is a mess, and we want to change it. Now, if you go back to the mind and think that the solutions are in the mind, and look within the contents of the mind for a solution, the mind consists essentially of cautionary and preventative projections and analyses. And you are going to come up with ideas and efforts to create a new world still based on your traumas, or now based on your fear of repeating your traumas, which is just another loop that you're stuck in. So, how do we create a new world? Okay, consciousness comes into this world, moves as energy, and asks the human being, where do you want to put this energy? What do you want to think on, focus on, build, create? What relationships, what projects, what do you want to do? And consciousness created a mind and a thought, and a thought stream in the human body, and this is not bad. It is not the enemy. The unconscious loop is the ego and the bad thing, but the process known as mind and thoughts is not bad. When this mind is aware of its divinity, that it is a form of consciousness, when this mind taps into and allows and in stillness can detect consciousness, detect its true nature, this mind, let's say, functioning properly. So, this is the malfunction of the mind. The mind functioning properly is supposed to be aware of its what I call true nature with a capital T and a capital N, right? So, your true nature is the fact that you are content. You are not in rivalry with anyone. You are not in danger. You are not alone. You are taken care of. You are okay. You are well, and you do not need any food substances or any people or things or accomplishments to make you happy or to make you content. Those are icing on the cake, but they're not the cake itself. The cake itself is your existence, the nature of your being. This is what I call being. I wrote a book on it and how to experience being. I even say that it's a simple, the book is a simple guide to experiencing peace, love, and joy, because that is what your true nature is. So the mind, the localized awareness within the human form, is supposed to be aware of its true nature. When it's aware of its true nature, it expresses it. So, what you're expressing is peace, love, joy, unity, the fact that we are all one, that we are not separate, the fact that you are experiencing beauty. The mind can interpret the beauty that the consciousness feels. The mind itself does not fully experience beauty. It has to allow its divine nature. It has to sit in stillness and meditation. It has to stop scrolling for a second to see that something is beautiful. So now you are expressing what you found inside of you. You're not looking for it in the world. You're not focused on the things that you're afraid of in the world. And you're not trying to tackle the things that you hate in the world. You are finding the truth inside of you. And it is everything that everyone has ever been looking for. And you say, oh my goodness, there it is. Let me bring it out into the world. Right? You start to show love. You start to form communities and organizations and get involved in actions and create businesses and start families in order to express what you have found, what you are. The mind is also in stillness able to find inspiration and solutions, right? This consciousness is aware of everything, every possible possibility, and every iteration. If you want to see it as every multiverse or every possible option, this consciousness is aware of it. And when the mind allows stillness, it detects that and it comes up with inspiration. The inspiration now changes the world. This is where, you join, you lovingly and happily and eagerly join organizations or groups that are in positions of influence, whether that's the PTA or it's your local government, or it's just how am I going to change the dynamic in my family? How am I going to grow food? Who am I going to shop from? You, or it can also be art. It can be, I have something to say, I have something to show, I have beauty to bring. And everybody is focused on the things that are going wrong, but perhaps I can bring my stillness. When my mind is in stillness and I feel God within, I can put that on paper in the form of a painting or a poem, or I can pass that feeling and that awareness through a guitar, and I could play a song, and I can bring beauty and stillness and a taste of presence to the world, right? So this is all obviously a very quick overview and oversimplification. But when the mind is unconscious, it gets stuck, it spirals, it makes the wrong choices and wrong. It makes choices and actions that are not helping anything. They're just recreating and reliving, and it neglects the body. When the mind is conscious, when you find this thing called awareness, and you say, what is this thing called awareness? How does it work? And you choose not to place your awareness on this loop, and you choose to allow your awareness to detect its divine nature at least once a day for a few minutes a day, you're going to end up with a different flow of your God power. You're now creating new. This is now the new you. And when you do this, and another person does this, and another person does this, and a whole bunch of us do it, collectively, we have the new earth, the new world, the new reality. And this is how we bring the divine into the world. It's how we express. But more importantly, it's how we, in the immediate moment, because I always try to bring these teachings to how can you change your life and benefit from this immediately. You don't need to wait for 8 billion people to wake up. You don't even need to wait for the rest of your family or your coworkers or your neighborhood to wake up. When you wake up, you stop draining your energy, you stop suffering your emotional loops, you stop being depressed because of this emotional loop. You stop projecting your fears into your world and reliving and living and then reliving your worst nightmares. You stop being manipulated and controlled by the people who have power and money and want to use your emotional reactivity for their financial gain. You stop being controlled by friends and family who are essentially emotional or energy vampires who are triggering this loop to get you to to be upset. You stop neglecting your body, you stop blocking the light of rejuvenation from your body, and this mess cleans up. The body becomes vibrant again, the mind becomes clear again, the emotions lift. Light doesn't come in, light is detected. And the light grows, and then the light is fills you so much that you start to leak the light out into the rest of the world. This is how you change yourself. So, I hope this has been clear. There's obviously much more to it, and we can get into details. I will try to expand on this based on your questions. So please do leave questions and comments in the comment section. And also, I am going to start a course in January, an intense look at every aspect of this, right? We're going to realize first that we are stuck here. We're going to realize what this is doing here. And we're going to say, how do we reclaim awareness and stop this? And then we're going to say, okay, so if our awareness is not on the pain, and if we, then where is it? And we're going to say the awareness is here. We're going to experience what that means. And we're going to learn how to experience that and how to allow that and how to let it fill us and then seep out of us. And then we're going to say, okay, how do we work with this higher consciousness? How do we detect it, tap into it, and allow it? And how do we now build a new life interacting with the same unconscious people in the same unconscious society from the understanding of our true nature and from a conscious pathway as opposed to an unconscious loop? So check in the description for those details. The course is called A New Year, New You. It's 1 month long. There will be live discussions, meditations, guides. I'm going to take you through the entire process. And it's basically a reset. It's just a reset. It's a stop this spiral. This year is going to be different. So if you're interested in that, I look forward to meeting you soon, and follow the links in the description or leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.